that are actually
time to our 58th Prime Clark College Jazz Festival. Hopefully this time next year, I'll be much more tired than I am right now, and have heard some great jazz for the last few days. And but I wanted just to have something out there that hopefully is relevant to where we all are right now. And as far as learning how to put things together from an arranging standpoint, I can't imagine anyone better than the person who's going to be working with us for the next hour and a half. Before we get to that, one of our sponsors, I'd like to introduce Phil Hodap, for those of you who don't know him yet. Phil.
Hi, everyone. We're super glad to be here. I'm Phil Hodap, as he said. I'm with Beacock Music. Dale Beacock started this festival 59 years ago, so 58 years plus this, the prime year. And we've been a part of it ever since, whether I've been a part since 1993, whether as a performer or 21 years now with Beacock Music or simply as a supporter. We're super glad to be here. We hope you enjoy the time that you have here and learn from Mr. Sharp. And also want to encourage you, though he's a little modest maybe, I would encourage you as a director to look at Clark for your students. Encourage maybe your kids to go to Clark. Behind me is the 50th anniversary band.
Oh, Phil, I accidentally muted you. I'm so sorry.
There you go. Now I'm unmuted. Thanks, Shelley. I guess I exceeded my time limit.
No, I was messing in the wrong place. Sorry about that.
I don't know where did I lose everybody? Behind me is a picture of the 50th anniversary of the Clark Jazz Festival, and that band is full of alumni from Clark College. I'd encourage you to let your kids know about Clark, about the jazz program and the wind ensemble program. There's an orchestra program, but particularly today we're talking about the jazz program. In that band are people who have played with Ray Charles, Stan Kenton, Maynard Ferguson, Dudley Moore, Susan Anton, the Pointer Sisters. The list is endless. Tower Power. So anyway, it's a great program. It's a great place to go. I'd encourage you to let your kids know about it. Doug is a great teacher as well, and we're happy to support it. So with you're not here to hear me blab. You're here to hear Christopher Sharp. So I'll go. And thank you very much for letting us be a part of what you do.
Thank you.
Thank you, Phil and Beacock. Really appreciate you.
So I've known Chris Sharp for many years. Many years. The first I got to know Chris at University of Florida, fantastic trombone player and arranger. Worked at Disney together, and Chris has had a long relationship with them as well. Master composer, arranger, trombonist, teacher, etc. So Chris, take it away.
Hi. Thank you, Dr. Harris, for inviting me to do this. I currently teach at the University of Lynchburg in Lynchburg, Virginia, and we're probably going to get snowed on tonight, which is great because I have sleds. So I'm, looking forward to that. As Dr. Harris said, I've been at this for quite a while, and we've known each other for about years. And so we definitely can dig the dirt on each other. So, we won't go there. Probably get arrested, which probably should have been arrested. Okay, so I'm going to start today with.
Chris, go ahead. Let's roll ahead.
Yeah, I'm going to start today taking a look at the instrumentalist article that you have there, which basically explains how to interpret chord symbols, which I know a lot of people. I got to get back here so I can sharing. Okay, where is it? Come on, pull it up again. No. Okay. Got to be back here. Nope, there it is. Looks like I lost it. Can you guys still hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Are you just struggling to be able to screen share?
I can't see you.
Oh,
I've got Zoom down here showing, and I can't get it to come back up. All right, let me try this again. There's Zoom, and I don't see anything. I just got too many windows open. Okay, I'm going to quit it and then come back because whatever I did here is just not working out.
no worries.
Okay, there it is. And nope, I'm just going to close out of it and start again. Okay, am I back?
You've never left.
Yeah, we can see you just fine.
Okay, well, I had to click on the link to get it to come back up. All right, so I'm going to share now. Sharing, there's my article and share. Okay, can everybody see that?
Yes.
Okay, so hopefully some of you have read through this. There's a bit of information here that it just kind of explains the whole nomenclature of chord symbols. And so I'm just going to kind of run it down as quick as possible here. When you're looking at a chord symbol, basically what you're looking at is a major scale. The letter that you're talking about, the letter on the left, that's a major scale. Everything that goes to the right of the letter is altering that major scale to create all the different chord qualities. But it's important to remember that you're always starting with the major scale of that letter. And then everything else just is changing that into the different chords. And that'll make a little bit more sense once we get into actually spelling some chords here. The chart here is basically almost all of the chords that you're going to see in common practice. So on the left is the chord symbol that I prefer, the chord symbol system, which came from Clint Romer and was also used by Frank Mantooth in his book. And if you're looking for a great book for piano voicings, the Mantooth book is an excellent way to get kids that have been classically trained into jazz piano playing and into creating their own voicings just from looking at a chord symbol. So that's an outstanding method. And that's basically the methodology that I'm going to be using once we get into the worksheets here. So in the middle here is the scale. So every time you see a chord symbol, it's not just a chord, it's a scale. And so the scales are given here also. And on the right are all of the other different ways that people write those same chords just to confuse you as much as possible. And I have this kind of a soapbox that I like to get on that's stating that we need to figure out what we're going to call this and everybody start doing it the same way. Because we've been playing jazz for over 100 years now, and we need to come to some kind of decision on that. So the decision that I've come to is that I'm going to use these ones over here on the left. And anytime I write a chart and anytime I teach a class, those are the ones that I'm using. And just because I believe that they are the easiest to understand and the least confusing. One thing that you'll notice is over here, there is no pluses or minuses because that's math. We do music. So we'll do sharps and flats. See, there's a C7 sharp 11. If you do C7 plus 11, that could mean C augmented plus 11 to somebody if they're not really familiar with the system. So I avoid my minuses and pluses as much as possible. Now, which is a problem if you use the real book, because the real book is all filled with minus for minor. And so that's something I have to reteach my kids when we get into arranging class. And they're like, what does a minus mean? That's minor. Just know that. And when you see plus, that's augmented. Okay, so read the article and you'll probably enlighten yourself if you're not familiar with the system of reading chords. Let's get rid of that. And now I'm going to pull up one of my sheets here. First one I'm going to pull up is MUSC 204 chord symbol drill. So this is a worksheet that I use in my sophomore theory class. So now I've got to get in here and share this one. How do I make it big again? That's just, wow. Okay. Maybe if I make that small, then I can make this big again. Or make that small, and then make it big again. Okay, I'm going to click on the link again. because that seems to be the only way I can share things. There, now we're back. Okay, share screen, share sound. There's the chord symbol drill. Okay, can everybody see that now?
Yes, it's
Okay,
good.
we got it up there. Okay, good. All right. So there's two exercises involved here. The chords that are written out, I ask them that they be identified just from the notes there. And where there's a chord symbol, we're going to fill in those chords. So I'll do a little bit of explanation here. At the first thing you need to know is whenever you see a chord symbol, that's going to represent 1, 3, and 5, and 7. 1, 3, 5, 7 of a chord. Now, because you're going to have a root, in most cases, you're going to use some kind of substitution for the root, which is going to be the ninth. So realize that every chord is going to have a third or a seventh in it. If it's a major or minor 1 chord, then 6 can substitute for 7. If it's a dominant chord, then their substitutions for 5 are 13 and 11, sharp 11. And the 13 could be a flat 13. For the 9, you could have a regular 9, sharp 9, or flat 9. And that's kind of dependent upon if you're in a major 2-5-1 or a minor 2-5-1. And that's just a bunch of words for you right now, but hopefully I can make some sense of that. So we're looking at our first chord here. Now, the reason it says 9-5 and 5-9, because depending upon what key you're in, it could be on the top or it could be on the bottom. The same thing with the 3s and the 7s. So if we're looking at our first chord here, we're looking at G, so we know that we're going to be doing G. So let me pull up my little text tool here. And I'm going to put a G in. Okay, so now we're looking at our G. Now we're looking at our 7 and our 3rd down here. That's going to determine the quality of the chord that we have. Now, G major has an F sharp in it, so we know that that's a minor 7th. So if we have a minor 7th and we have a minor 3rd, which is what we have here, because G major has B natural in it, we know we're dealing with a minor 7 chord here. So now we've got minor 7. So I'm going to put MI. Now we've got upper extensions here. Now it's going to be either 5 or 9, or 5 or root. And in most cases, I'm going to have a 9 substituting for the root, because it gives you a richer voice and you're not wasting a chord tone playing the root, which is going to be played by the bass player in a jazz band or any kind of commercial group. All right, so we've got a D here, and remember, you're thinking in the key of G major. So everything is based on the letter right there. That's good. You're going to be dealing with the major chord of the letter. Realize that chord symbols are not key signature dependent. The key signature has absolutely nothing to do with the spelling of the chords. So realize that, and once you get into a chart and you're dealing with a key signature, you've got to realize that you're going to have to make some chromatic alterations in order to get the chords to sound properly. That's probably the biggest mistake that my students make, is they're trying to spell the chords out and they're not paying attention to the key signature. I didn't put a key signature on here for a reason. So the chords would have to be spelled out with the accidentals that they're needed to produce the quality of chord. Okay, so now we're looking at a 5 here, and we're looking at a 9 here. So we've got flat, we've got minor 7, we've got minor 3rd, we've got regular 9, and we've got regular 5. That means we have a G minor 9 chord. So that's the solution to that first one there. Okay, moving right along. If you have any questions, I got to make this so that I can see your questions. Let's see, how can I do that? I just made myself go away again.
Chris, what if they just chime in?
Yeah, they can just chime in. Yeah, I'm gonna have to click on the link again to get you to come back, or to get me to come back. And now it won't come back. Okay, close out of that. Try again. And now I can't see it. Okay, I can see the people over on the side here. Let's see now. Let's just close them all.
You can
And
blame the weather causing all these problems.
yeah, that's it. It's the weather. Well, this was working and now it's not working. Okay, open Zoom meetings. Launch meeting. Are you sure? Open Zoom meeting. Yes, I'm very sure. Okay. I still have the control panel up here.
Trust me, we have all felt your discomfort because we've all learned new stuff, man.
All right. Okay, let's just close it all and start again. There's got to be something I can click on over here that brings my screen back. Right now, I'm not finding it.
Do you need to continue to share? Because yeah.
Okay, it's back now.
Okay, perfect.
I just keep clicking on things until something works. Okay, it looks like my sharing stopped, but now we're back. Okay, can you see that all, everybody?
Yep, it's good.
Okay, so now we're on E13. So realize that we're going to start with an E major 7 scale. Now, this is a dominant 7 chord, and these are things that you need to internalize. Whenever you have a minor 7 chord, it's going to have a minor third, it's going to have a minor 7. Whenever you have a dominant 7 chord, it's going to have a major third and a minor 7. And that's for all dominant chords, except for a sus chord where you have 4 substituting for 3. Okay, so E13. So I'm going to put my E down here, and I'm just using a simple entry. And it's putting it way over there. Okay, so I need a major third. Key of E major has a G sharp in it. So I got to grab my sharp over here. All right, there's my G sharp. And now I need a minor 7. And you're thinking to yourself, well, it's D natural because E major has D sharp in it. Okay, now you can actually get to hear the chord here. All right, now E13, what you have to realize is that whenever you see a number by itself without any alteration, that's a dominant 7 chord. So if you see a 7 or a 9 or a 13, that means it's a dominant 7 chord, which means it always includes a lowered 7th. And there's your lowered 7th, the D here. Now E13 includes the 13, and you're like, well, how do I count up that high? Well, the rule of thumb I tell my classes is you take the number of the extension and you subtract 7. So if you subtract 7 from 13, hopefully your math is good enough to realize that that gives you 6. So the 6th scale degree of E major is, anybody? Say C sharp, then you'd be correct. And so basically to get this to work properly, you have to have a really good solid understanding and grasp of major scales. Okay, now if I put my C sharp up there, it's going to do voice crossing with my D. So I'm going to grab my D and drop it down an octave. Okay, which is still going to sound okay. Now, one thing you got to be careful about is this area here, between D in the middle of the staff and below that. You want to keep that clear, because if you put notes in there, it's going to make a muddy voicing, and that's something you definitely want to avoid. So I'm going to take my C sharp and my whole note, and there's my 13. Boom. Now, because it's an E13, it also includes the 9. And you're like, well, how do you know that? That's just a rule that you have to follow. 13 also includes the 9, which in the key of E is F sharp. There's your E13 voicing. Now, if you want to hear them, you can always play them back. There's your G minor 9. There's your G13. 13 chord, one of the voicings of voicing I really enjoy because of the dissonance that's created between the D, get out of there, between the D right here. Oh, come on. There we go. Okay, between the D and the C sharp is a major seventh. Major sevenths are a good thing within a voicing because they make the chord crunchy, and crunchy is good. So we're going to play those two again. You also have a major seven interval between the 9 and the B flat here, the A and the B flat in the G minor 9, which gives it a certain crunch. And then the E13, you're going to hear the crunch between 13 and the minor 7. Just makes it a very cool sounding chord. All right, now our alignments are going to get off just because of the function of finale here. But so we're going to name this next chord. So we've got A, we've got C sharp, we've got F sharp, we got C. We have a minor third, so we know this is A minor something. So we're going to go ahead and put our A minor. A-M-I. Now, this can't be a minor 7 chord because there's no 7. We would have to have a G natural here in order for this to be a minor 7 chord. But we have an F sharp in place of the G natural, which means this is a minor 6 chord. Now, we also have upper extensions. We have a 5, which isn't reflected in the key in the chord symbol, but we also have a 9. So that makes this an A minor 6 9 chord. And once again, you also have an element of crunchiness in there because of the major 9 over the minor third. That gives you the major 7th interval again between the C and the B, and that also makes the chord kind of crunchy. I like the crunchy chords, so I put them in my exercises. Okay, so now we got C sharp minor 9. So we have to start with a C sharp major scale. Ew, should be my favorite scale because it's my name. But now when they're trying to figure out what's in C sharp major, well, C major has nothing in it. So C sharp major must have 7 sharps. Easy enough. Okay, so we've got, now this is a minor 9 chord, which means you're going to have a minor third and a minor 7. So we got to first start with a C sharp for our root note, and we'll put them right there. I'm going to turn off the sharp because we need a minor third. Now we can put it there, and that's about as low as you want to go with any of the chord tones over the root. I could put the C sharp down here an octave below, but then I'd be running into my chord symbol, and we want to keep it nice and neat. Okay, so now we need a minor third, which we have, and now we need a minor 7, which in this case is going to be B natural, because in C sharp major, the B would be a B sharp, which is also nasty sounding. All right, so now we need a 9, which in the key of C sharp is going to be a major 9. It's not altered at all. That's going to be D sharp. And then we need a 5, and that's going to be G sharp. So there's our chord. Any questions so far? Okay. Once again, if you're teaching this and you're trying to learn this, realize that you have to have all the major chords, all the major scales down pat. You don't have to worry about modes. You don't have to worry about any of the other scales. As long as you understand the system, all you have to do is have the major scales, all 12 of them down pat. Okay. Now we're going to move on to the F sus9 chord. We need F sharp sus9. We need a F sharp. This is a dominant type chord. The sus chords are a dominant type chord, which means they're going to have a minor third. So that's going to be E. F sharp major has 6 sharps. This is a sus chord, so it has no third. In a sus chord, you're substituting the 4 for the 3. In this case, the 4th scale degree of F sharp major is B. So there's our third. We have a 4th substituted for the 3rd. Okay, now it's a sus9 chord, so that means it's also going to have a 5 and a 9 in it. The 9 comes from the F sharp major scale. That's going to be G sharp. And because it's a 9 chord, it's also going to have the 5 in it. And in the key of F sharp, that's going to be C sharp. Okay, so there's your voicings. All right, so that's that exercise. And if you want to continue on your own with that, go ahead. And hopefully I've given you enough information. B minor 9 is spelled the same as a B minor 7 chord or a B minor chord, B minor 9 chord, only the fifth is lowered. The minor 9 chord with the flat 5 is also called a half diminished chord, and it's 2 of a minor 2-5-1. G minor 9 would be 2 of a major 2-5-1. E13 would be 5 of a major 2-5-1. A minor 6-9 would be 1 of a minor 2-5-1. So all of these chords have a function, have a chord function as well as just being a color sound. One of the cool things about jazz harmony, and once you get out of tonal harmony and from the Romantic into the Impressionism, is that you can follow any chord with any chord. You don't have to always follow 1 with a 5 chord or 5 with a 1 chord, or you don't have to always go 3, 6, 2, 5. In jazz, you can put them any place that you want to, whatever you dig the sound of. You can follow up any chord with any other chord in any key that you want. There's complete freedom, which makes jazz one of the cool things. Okay, so we're gonna click out of that, and I'm not gonna save it. And I'm going to move on to 2-5-1s. Oh, there's give me some of that. Get rid of that. It's canceled. I'm going to open up my 2-5-1 sheet now, which will show you voice leading, which is kind of similar to voice leading in Roman numeral analysis. There are some similarities. Arranging workshop, and there's 2-5-1 cadences. Okay. So I've given the top note and I've given the bottom notes, right? So here's your soprano line and here's your bass line here. And so we're going to look at these and try to fill in the 2-5-1s and try to figure out if it's a major 2-5-1 or a minor 2-5-1. So this is a way to kind of help you learn that language. Now I'm going to be doing 4-part closed position voicings. So the challenge here is to figure out, first of all, what the chord symbols are going to be. And everything's in root position. When you're writing jazz, 95% of the time you're going to be in root position. So that's something that helps kids to make the transference from Roman numeral analysis into jazz harmony, is that almost everything is in root position. All right. So this is a 2-5-1. So we're looking at C, F, and B flat. So obviously that's going to be a 2-5-1 in the key of B flat. Now we're going to look at our top notes and try to figure out if this is a major 2-5-1 or not. And sometimes they will determine that. If we're looking at the F, the 5 chord in the middle of this, we're looking at a D flat. And because this is in the upper hand, this is in the right hand, that's going to be an upper extension. So you think F. So we're going to go F, G, A, B, C, D. So that's going to be the 6th scale degree. But because it's an upper extension, you're going to add 7. That's going to turn it into a 13. Now, in the key of F, there's no D natural. There's no D flat. So this is a flat 13. Now, what you got to remember is most of the time that you have a flat 13 as you're in your 5 chord, you're going to be resolving that to a minor chord. So this is a minor 2-5-1, which means our 2 chord is going to have a flat 5 in it also. So we're just going to look at our top note, and based on the bass note that's given, we're going to figure out what chord tone that is. All right, so we're looking at C and our top note's a D. Well, that makes it a 9 over a C minor 7 chord, right? So we're going to do 9 on the top, and look at the voice stacking up here. So if we've got a 9 on the top, that's a substitute for 1. So that means that we're going to use this stacking right here to fill in our notes underneath it. So if you've got a 9 on the top, then our next note down is going to be a 7. Well, we need a minor 7, so that's going to be B flat. So we just pop it in there right underneath that. Boom. Okay. Next note down is going to be 5. In the key of C minor, that's going to be a G. But because this is a minor 2-5-1, that's going to be a G flat, because you want a minor 7 chord with a flat 5. So there's that one. And then the final thing we need is a minor 3rd. Key of C, that's going to be E flat. Boom, there's our first voicing. Okay, so that's C minor 9, flat 5. And I can fill that in here. C minor 9. Oops. And with a flat 5. That didn't fit very well in my blank there, so it's gonna get a little uncomfortable. Usually I just go to a smaller font size there, but I don't want to take the time to do that. Okay, so now we're on the F chord. 5 chord. Now 2 chords are always going to be a minor 7 chord, 5 chords are always going to be a dominant 7 chord, and 1s are always going to be some kind of major 7 or minor 7 or minor 6/9. And you'll see that the voice leading usually works out pretty well. Okay, so there's our C minor 9 flat 5. So we're going to end up going to an F9 flat 13 chord. So if you look at the top note, that's our flat 13. Flat 13 is a substitute for 5 because they're right next to each other. So that means our note stacking is going to be this stack right here. So we got 5. Now we need 3 underneath that. That's going to be an A natural because we're in the key of F. So boom. Now we have a 1 underneath that. I'm going to use a 9 because it just makes a better voicing. And in fact, in this case, because it's a minor 2-5-1, I'm going to go flat 9 because it'll probably be a little bit better of a sound, a little bit more appropriate of a sound. And the reason you don't see a flat there is because it carries over from that right there, that G flat. And then we need a 7. That's the last thing on the bottom here is a 7. So we got to go E flat. And there's our F 7 flat 9, oops, comma, flat 13. And that's really not going to fit very well. So I'm going to push it up here a little bit higher. Now, we know that we're going to be resolving to a minor 1 chord. We got a B flat here. So in most cases, this is going to resolve to a B flat minor 6/9 chord. You could sustain the A natural here and spell it as a B flat minor with a major 7, but I just like the sound of the minor 6/9, so that's what I tend to go with. So now you've got 9 on top. That means you're going to be using this stack here. So 9 on the top, 7's the next thing down. But we're not using a 7 because we're doing a 6/9 chord. We're going to substitute 6 for that. That gives us a G. And then we got 5 underneath that. And, oh, yeah, got a problem there. We need a major 6, but we have a flat carrying over. So we got to go back in there. And I'm just going to use speedy entry and raise up mine. There we go. Now we got a major 6. And then we need a minor 3rd at the bottom because we're doing this stack here. And so I need my flat. And when I write, I use speedy entry. But it's not really practical for the purposes of this exercise. So we're ending up with a B flat, B flat minor 6/9. And you're probably thinking to yourself, what does that sound like? Well, hit play. Yeah, I probably need to slow that down a little bit. Okay, any of you that are familiar with salsa music, that's a pretty common sound in salsa music. I'm going to make it even go slower, just so we can hear the chord voicings a little bit better. All right, so that's a minor 2-5-1. Okay, now,
Chris, going back to the 5 chord.
Yeah.
The flat 9, is that just an assumption, or is that I mean, from a jazz theory standpoint, would the
generally when in general, when you use a flat 13, you're also going to use a flat 9 in the chord.
All right.
Not always, But in the case of a minor 2-5-1, if you have a flat 13, you're probably going to use a flat 9. Now, I could put a regular 9 in there and it probably wouldn't bother you at all. In fact, let's go there just for the sake of argument. Go up there and raise that one. And it will probably sound just fine. In which case we need to change our chord symbol to F backwards 9 flat 13. Now you notice I use parentheses, and that's just to keep the extensions separated from the rest of the chord to avoid confusion. Okay, so now I'm going to play that back. And it sounds just fine. So it's just options that you have for producing, the color turquoise as opposed to the color chartreuse or whatever. Well, in this case, it's a different color blue. So, cerulean as opposed to turquoise or whatever. Knowledge of the sound of these different chord symbols just expands your palette as an arranger. If you know what all of the different chords sound like. And I remember when I was first starting as a professional arranger, which was not too long out of school, it would take me forever to write an arrangement because I'd come to a chord, I'd come to a lead note, and I'd say, well, I could use this chord, I could use this chord, or this chord, or this chord, or this chord, or this chord. And then so I would scroll through all of them, play them on the piano, and then finally I would say, okay, I like that one the best. It would take me forever because there was all these colors of paint. It's like the first time you open up the Crayola 64 box and you open it up and you see all those colors and you're like, which one should I use? And so through experience, you eventually get to the point where you know what color belongs there. As just a result of your own listening experience, your performing experience, and just your personal taste. And that's pretty much what dictates your style as a composer. If you're starting and you're getting your feet wet for the first time with this, listen to all the sounds, listen to all the possible sounds, so that you have those sounds available for you to make creative choices once you get to that point. Okay. All right, the next one's going to be a major 2-5-1, and so I'll try to get through that pretty quickly here. So we've got A minor 7, and get rid of my flat. Okay, so the 7 on top, we're going to be using this stack right here. 7, 5, which is E, 3, which is C minor, or C natural, because it says A minor chord. And then I'm going to substitute 9 for the 1, which is going to give me a little crunch. There you go. So that's A minor 9. Oops. A, M-I, 9. The reason I use M-I and not just M is because any of you that are familiar with the jazz font are aware that there are no lowercase letters in either the jazz font or the Broadway copyist font. The M's are just smaller, big M's. So that's why I use MI. So it makes it obvious that it's a minor chord. And I use MA for major chord. Some people use MAJ. I'm like, what do you need the J for? Just go MA, you're good. All right, so now we've got a D chord with a major third. Now we know it's a dominant 7 chord. So we've got 3 on top right here, and I'm going to go 9. Now it's going to make kind of a little bit of a dissonance because of the major step here, but I'm okay with that. In general, you want to avoid a minor second between your top voice and your second voice down, but the major second is acceptable. It's okay. So we got a 9 underneath the 9. Once again, we got 3 on top. We got to have a 7. It's going to be minor 7 because it's a dominant 7 chord. So that's the note C. And if I wanted to get colorful here, instead of doing a 5, I could just carry over my dissonance and substitute a 13 for the 5. So that gives me a little extra crunch there. So now I'm going to be ending up on a G chord with a major 7. So the F sharp carries. So realize that's an F major. That's a major 7 and not a minor 7. So I can go, now I can't do a 6/9 chord because my top note's already determined for me. So I've got to have a 7 in the chord. So I'm going to be using this stack here. Underneath the 7 is a 5, key of G, that's a D. Underneath that is the 3rd in the key of G, that's B. And I'm going to substitute a 9 for 1 just because it makes a more colorful voicing. That'll be an A there. And let's scroll over a little bit so you can hear what that sounds like. Oh, can't do that. All right. I'll just have to start it on the second bar. Can I do that? No, I'll just play through both. Okay. Now, major 2-5-1. Much happier sound. All right. So those are the 2-5-1s. All right. Now, if you're not sure how to determine from the top voices if you have a minor 2-5-1 or a major 2-5-1, that's what all this gobbledygook is here. So it just looks like a bunch of junk, but if you can figure out what your first chord is, or if you can figure out what your 5 chord is, that's going to determine if the whole thing's a minor 2-5-1 or a major 2-5-1. So I'll leave you with that, and now we will get into the fun stuff. Okay. So yeah, we can make that one go away. There we go. All right, so now I'm going to start from square one, which is creating a score. So we're gonna create a combo chart, or at least part of a combo chart. And so I'm going to start up here with File menu, and I'm going to launch Document with Setup Wizard, which pulls up this. Anybody Finale users, you've probably already seen this. I'm going to create a new ensemble. I'm going to use handwritten style because it looks hipper for a jazz chart. And I like the Broadway copyist font. I use that as a publisher also. So once you do that, I'm going to go to next. Now I'm going to populate my staff list here. I want to do piano, bass, drums, and guitar as my rhythm section. And I'm going to do 4 horns. I'm going to do trumpet, alto, tenor, and trombone. So I've got to fill in my voices here now. So I'm going to start with brass. So I can put my trumpet on top there. Here's my trumpet. Next thing down is going to be an alto sax. So I got to go woodwinds and alto sax. I got to scroll down to find that. There it is. Now it's going to put it on top because of score order. So I've got to use this little arrow here to put the alto underneath the tenor. Now I want to put the tenor sax underneath that. And then I'm going to put trombone on the bottom. And that will be there. So there's my 4 horns. Now I also want to do guitar. That's going to be under pluck strings. Guitar. And it's probably not going to put it in the order that I like, but we'll deal with it. Pluck strings is also where you're going to find bass. So we can do acoustic bass. I'm going to do regular bass guitar. And then I want drums. I want a drum set. So that's going to be drums. And there's drum set. And you got to goof around with the map there because their default map is just terrible. But we'll get to that hopefully. I'll save that for the end. And then finally, on the bottom of this score, I would put piano. So that's keyboards and piano. And so this is our score order here. And once I switch the alto underneath the trumpet, it all came up in the right order. I'm going to hit next. Title. Goes by. Okay, who wrote As Time Goes By? Well, we can look and check it out and see if we've got it. Lead sheet. Anybody got the lead sheet there? Tell me who wrote As Time Goes By.
Herman Huffield.
What is it?
Herman
Hupfeld.
Hupfeld.
H-U-P.
F-E-L-D.
F-E-L-D.
That's what it looks like.
There it is. Okay. The arranger is you. Boom. Now, if I was going to publish this arrangement, I would have to call up whoever owns the copyright of Herman Hupfield's chart and pay them money to publish this arrangement. But chances are I'm probably not going to publish it. I'm going to go to next. All right. Key signature is it's give me a hand here. What is it?
E flat.
It's E flat. E flat major, not C minor. Okay, so we got major key, down 3 arrows. Boom, boom, boom. Number of measures, I'm just going to leave it at 31 because we won't get any farther than that. Text.
Ballad.
I'm going to do a slow swing. So we'll call it moderate swing. So I'd probably do a little bit faster than if I was just doing a straight ballad. So now tempo wise, it's about 90. And there's no pickup measure. And finish. Oh, and it's loading up all those sounds that I hate. Somebody going to change those. The default sounds, the Garriton, it's just, yeah, personal pet peeve of mine. We're going to play it through MIDI and not the Garriton. So I'm just going to go in here and change all of these to soft synth 2. Come on. Don't slow me down. There we go. You're making me hate you, Finale. Not much we can do here until it makes the switch. They gave me a steel guitar. Ew. This is not country music. Why is your default a steel guitar?
It's good country key.
E flat? E flat's a country key?
A.
A is a country key, yeah.
Blues Brothers. It's good and A. It's good
Right.
country key.
A and E and B.
And G.
Yeah, and G. Okay, so I'll entertain you with a bass player joke. Kid wants to learn how to go play the bass. So he goes to his bass teacher, and the bass teacher teaches him on the first day, teaches him E. Okay, go home and practice E, and then come back next week. So the kid goes home, practices E, comes back the next week. Teacher says, okay, today we're going to learn the note B. And so go home for a week and practice the note B, and then come back next week. And so kid goes home, practices B, comes back the next week. Teacher says, okay, today we're going to learn the note A. And so kid says, okay, goes home and learns A. The next week, the kid doesn't show up for his lesson. And so the teacher calls up, said, hey, what happened to you? And the kid said, I had a gig.
There you go.
That's just mean. That's cold.
That's a jazz musician joke. Okay, I'm not going to wait for this. I'm going to close out of it. Get me out of it. Yeah, it froze up. So now I'm just going to open it up again, and then it will hopefully behave itself.
Chris, for what it's worth, we got about 40 minutes left.
Okay. All right, we're getting to the good stuff.
All right.
Oh, you know what? I didn't save it. Ugh. Well, we'll do all that again real quick. Instead of wizard. Boom. And
Doug, what's your kitty's name?
You can't read lips.
Blah, blah, blah. It's Dexter.
I said Dexter. Okay.
Mingus, the black lab, is not with me right now. He's out on a hike. Dexter is not small.
Hello, Dexter.
There we go. Save. Save to the desktop. Okay, so now we've got to put our score in concert pitch. And now we've got to pull up.
You'll need to share with us again, Chris.
Yep. Got to pull up my lead sheet here. Actually, I'm just going to print it out. And hopefully we'll be okay. Okay, got that printed. Go back to Allie. Go back to sharing. And it went away again. So I'm going to click on the link. And we're back. Share screen, share sound. Now, okay, everybody see that? Oh, we do have a pickup. So how to do a pickup? We're going to go in here and create a 1/8 bar, but still make it look like 4/4. So click, 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 click. Oops, other direction. 1/8 bar. Measure 1 through 1. Okay, and now that's a 1/8 bar. I throw in my forward repeat, and I'm going to prove that this is a 1/8 bar by putting in a bunch of 8th rests. There we go. Okay. Now I'm just going to use simple entry. Okay. Ba, ba, da, 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 dotted quarter note. Dotted quarter note. 8th note with no dot. Oops. And I'm going to tie that over. Okay. Now I'm going to hip it up a little bit. I just don't want to just go ba da 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 da. I want ba da 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 da. So I'm going to make some triplets there. Tie it over. Triplet tool. 8th note. What happened to my triplet? There they are. Dotted quarter. Oop, got a dot there. Do the same thing here. I could probably do that a little bit easier. Now triplet. There we go. And we'll leave that one there. Okay. All right. Now I want it to swing. So I got to tell it that. I'm going to go into my little tool here, playback settings, jazz, and it's going to be 100 swing value. So let's see if that sounds okay. See if we're happy with that. I can live with that. Okay. All right. So now we need to put in the chord symbols. And so we got F minor 7. So I'm just going to type in F and I 7. Boom, there's our F minor 7. It's going to crash into our title. You want to keep it nice and neat. And that's kind of floating up there, so I'm going to pull it down a little bit, which is what these little arrows do on the left. They pull things down globally. Okay, so I've got F minor 7, going to a B flat 7. So going to type in B, little b, 7. And there it is. I got B flat minor 6. So I've got to go B flat, and I'm going to use MI because I don't like the minus 6. There we go. And it says B flat 7 there. So B will be 7. And then I've got E flat 6. I already got E flat in there, so just give it a 6. There we go. And it gives us the little transitional chords here, which I'm hoping I'll like the sound of. F minor 7. And then an F sharp diminished. And a G minor 7. Now, just because it gives you these chords in the real book doesn't mean you're stuck with them. If you don't like the sound of them, it's your arrangement. You can do whatever you want. All right. So now we got our lead notes and we've got our chords here. So we've got to do what we were doing with the other exercise and just apply it to actual creation of an arrangement. Pull that out of the way a little bit there. And if I was going to write that on a chart, I would also add moderate swing. There we go. Okay, so now we're going to fill in some voicings here. We've got, now realize that we put everything in concert pitch, which is obviously going to help you to not make mistakes. I'm also going to put in a chord here at the beginning, just so we have some place to start with. And I'm going to start with a C7 flat 9 chord, just because I think that'll sound cool. How do I know that? Just from writing charts. Okay, C7 flat 9, dominant 7 chord. Okay, we've got 5 in the lead now. You're thinking the key of C major. So we got 5, we got to put in a 3. And it's got to be a C natural because it's a C7 chord. So I've got to raise that from the key signature. Okay, and I want a flat 9, so I'm going to go D flat. And I got a B flat on the bottom. Don't need the flat. Okay, now I've got F minor 7. I'm not going to be able to put a 9 in there because it would put a half step there. And so we want to stay away from that. So there's our 1. We got 3 on top. Remember, we're in the key of F now. We got 3 on top. There's our 1. We need a 7. And we need a 5. Okay. Now we're going to our next voicing. We've got a 9 on top, which is going to work well because we want to try not to repeat notes between voicings. Okay, I've got to put a tie on there also. So we're in F here. So 9, the G is a 9. So 7 is going to go below that. And 5 below that. And 3 below that. And just fill in the same voices, same notes. Okay, it looks like we're going to have to repeat here. But not here. Now, since this is coming off of after a break, it doesn't bother me that much that that's going to be a repeated note there. In a faster, like bebop type line, I would probably not want to repeat the note. I could put a 9 there. Okay, now we're done with F minor 7. Now we're on B flat 7. Okay, so we got a 5 in the lead. So that means a 3 is going to be the next thing down. And I can substitute a 9 for the 1. And then I'm missing a minor 7. Okay, now this will work because the G is going to be a substitute for 5. So now we have a 13 chord. So just because it says B flat 7, we don't have to follow that with our voicing. We just have to stay within that chord type. And so I can go, let's see, I got 13, that's 5. So I want 3. Now I've got B flat minor 6. I've got 1 as my lead voice. So the next thing down is going to be 6 because in a minor 6, you don't have a 7, you got a 6 instead. Okay, now I need a 5, which is going to be F. And now I need a D flat because it's a minor chord. Okay, now I got an A flat, but it says B flat minor 6. So what are we going to do? We're going to do B flat minor 7 because that's what our lead voice is dictating at this point. So just because it says minor 6 doesn't mean that everything going underneath it has to be a minor 6 chord. This can be a minor 7 chord. Actually, it's going to be a minor 9 chord. So I can have a little crunch in there.
But Chris, couldn't that conflict with it? Would you assume the piano player would pick up that alteration? If
the piano player would probably play B flat minor 6 on the downbeat, in which case he wouldn't even notice it. As long as he didn't hit B flat minor 6 on the end of the beat there.
Right.
Wouldn't bother your ear at all. We need that flat again. Okay. All right. Now we have a G. So what are we going to do with that? We could do B flat minor 6 under that again. And so we'll just have to have a whole step right there. Okay, now it's a 5, so all the voices are going to flip down. We've got D flat again. I could do a 9 this time. So I've got 5. Yeah, I could do B flat minor 7 again. Okay, now I've got B flat 7, which means my D is going to go to a D natural. But I've got 7 on top, so 5 below that. But now I've got D natural because it's B flat 7, not B flat minor 6. And I could do a 9 right there. Okay, now I've got 1 in the lead voice. I could put a 7 right there, but I'm going to get tricky here. And I'm going to put a 13 here, just because I'm going to like the sound of that better. And so I'm going to do what they call a drop 2. So I've got 1 here, 7 would be going there, but I've got substitute for 5 there. So instead of trying to jam that 7 in there, I'm going to do a drop 2 and put it down here. And that accomplishes 2 things. First of all, it didn't give me that big crunch right there. Not that crunch is a bad thing, but like 3 crunches right next to each other, maybe a sound that you might like at some point, but I'm going to opt out for that, just so that I can stay in drop 2 now for the rest of this line here. And the reason I'm doing that is because of the range the trumpet's going into here. If I do a drop 2, then that's going to keep the trombone in a much more comfortable range. So as you're doing this, you got to realize that all of these 4 are going to become this plus these 3 voices down here. And you'll see how that works in a bit. Now I want to put in some slurs. Ba-doo-da, da-da, ba-doo-da, da-da, ba-doo-da, ba-doo-da. I'm going to slur from the offbeat into the downbeat because that's a jazz interpretation thing. All right, so now I'm going to go to E flat 6, and I got to remember that I've just gone into open position or a drop 2 position here. Okay, so I've got a 6, now I got a 5, I've got a 3. And there's my 6 down there on the bottom now. Okay, so now I've got an E here. I've got a D here, so that's going to be a 7. So my 5 is below that, so I'm going to go ahead and fill that in there. So I've got 7, 5, 3, and I'm going to put a 9 in there.
Chris, some people might not know the term drop 2. You want to jump on that real quick?
All right, what I did was, okay, on an E flat 6, I would be going root 6, 5, 3. So in a drop 2, I took the second voice down, which would be the C in this case, and dropped it down an octave, just to open up the voice, because I did a drop 2 here, and I want to stay in drop 2 all the way through until I get to the end of this. So that means my second voice down is going to be an octave lower. And I don't like that, but I'm going to stay with that just so I don't get into any confusion here. Okay, now I've got a 1, I've got a 5 here, so I would be doing 3, but I'm going to drop it down an octave. That's my drop 2. And then that gives me 1 below that, but I'm going to use 9 instead. And I can do major 7 there. And now I want F minor 7. So now I'm in the key of F. So I've got 5 on top. And I got to add the tie there. Actually, no, I'm not going to add a tie because I'm going to be moving voices underneath here. All right. So I've got F minor 7. And I would have a 3 underneath my 5 here, but I'm going to drop that down an octave too. So now I need a 1. I'm going to put a 9. And there's my 7. Okay, now underneath here, I'm going to change my chord here because I've got an F minor 7. I'm going to go to F diminished 7. So I've got to think, okay, how do I spell an F sharp diminished 7? Well, it's going to be all minor thirds. So down a minor third from C is going to be an A. So I've got an A there in drop position. So that's going to give me a little chromatic motion there. And so I've got an A, and then I've got an E flat above that. Okay, well, I got my E flat here already, so I can do that. I could do an E flat 9, or I could do an F sharp diminished 9, which would give me a G sharp. And I'm not entirely sure how this is going to work. Oh, that's crunchy. We like that. Now, because I'm changing my lower voice here, I'm going to have to tie over to another half note. Nope, just want the top voice, not all of them. Okay, so I've got to put in my C there at the top. Get rid of the sharp. Now you're thinking, C, how do I make that fit into a G minor 7 chord? Well, over that makes it an 11. So it's a substitute for 5. So then underneath that, we can do a 9, which is going to be an A. And then I got a B flat down here. And my 7. But then I've got it resolving to okay. All right. So we got it all put in there now. So let's see what it sounds like playing it back. Okay, a little crunchy in here. I probably would rethink that, but for the purposes that we're dealing with right now, I'm going to go on to the next step, which is explode my music. This is my favorite thing on finale. Okay, so we got all of our notes, we got all of our ties, we got all of our slurs, and we're going to go to utilities and explode music. Okay, we're going to split into 4 staves, and we're going to do existing staves with the trumpet on top and hit OK. And now it all is exploded into 4 parts. So now you're going to hear all of the different instruments. I'm hearing a bit of a bounce problem, so I'm going to go into my mixer and pop my first trumpet up a little bit louder so we can hear the melody clearer. Okay, we have a problem with sounds that we don't want, and those sounds are coming from the chord playback, which you need to turn off whenever you're using chords and you're voicing things out, because the chord playback plays horrible voicings. So without that nasty sound in there, so much better. Okay, what I'm not liking is the 11 chord with the 9 in it. And that will probably fix that. Much better. Okay, how much time do we have left, Dr. Harris?
About 10 minutes.
About 10 minutes. Okay, let's go through bass part writing. How to write a bass line. How do I write a walking bass line? And it's pretty easy. You just look at the roots and you make sure that you hit the roots on the downbeat. And then in a tune of this speed, you could probably do 1s and 5s and get away with it. So let's do that. B flat and a 5 and a 1 and a 5. I'm going to do a 3 here instead. Now, why did it do that? Because we don't have a D flat in the key signature, dummy. All right, and so then we've got E flat and a 5, and then a F, and then a 5, then an F sharp, and then a C natural, because that's what's in an F diminished 7 chord, and then a G, and a 5. And what's that sound like? I want to hear that a little bit stronger. So go into the mixer and push our bass up just a little bit louder. Okay, instant arrangement. All you do is fill in the puzzle, following the rules, and you get something that sounds fairly hip. All right, drums. What will we do on drums? Well, we're gonna have to go into the window here, and you're probably not going to remember much about this, but I'm gonna have to fix their drum map. So I'm going into drum set. I'm going to go into settings right here. That pulls up this. Then I'm going to hit edit. And then I'm going to change my note heads and my locations. Yeah, I want to use a ride cymbal, but nobody in their right mind notates it right there. So I'm going to put it up there where it belongs. Drop my mouse. I'm also going to change my note heads, just because the really faint ones, they don't print very well. Okay, I've got that there. Snare drum. I think I'm going to do cross stick just because it's a little bit more appropriate. And I'm going to go to that X again and put that in there. And I also want to do hi-hat foot pedal. There it is. And change that X out also. Okay, so how do we make a swing drum beat? Not too hard. Ride cymbal. Okay, my keyboard entry is not working, so I've got to unplug it. And if you use speedy entry, which I do all the time, you've got to go in and make sure that your MIDI input device is being read. And come on, there it is. Okay, it's showing up now, USB MIDI. So in theory, it should be working now. Yeah, there we go. I'm going to put a cross stick in on 4. So that's That's ride cymbal, and that's cross stick on 4. Now I'm going to go into layer 2 so that I get down stems because feet go down, hands go up. I'm not going to use any bass drum. I'm just going to use hi-hat closed on 2 and 4. And there's your basic swing pattern. Actually, I should go 8th note there. There we go.
Chris, is there a place where you can find this information on how to set up the drum set notation? Or I found some on YouTube, and they're of very wildly varying quality.
Yeah, my advice is look at charts, look at jazz charts.
I'm talking about the finale, getting finale to do this.
Getting to finale to play it back.
To edit it and alter it the way you've just done it.
Once again, look at jazz charts and see how it's done, because the defaults in finale are not anywhere close. So you have to go in and you have to do what I just did.
Right. Did you just figure that out yourself, or was that just? Okay.
Yeah, I figured it out by writing a bunch of charts and by not getting the sounds that I wanted from the drummers. And actually, I sat down at a drum set with a pair of sticks one day and said, okay, what can you do with 2 hands and 2 feet? And basically all the drum patterns that I use are ones that I figured out just by sitting at a drum set, and also by listening to recordings and like, okay, what's the hi-hat playing? What's the kick drum playing? What's
okay?
What are they doing on ride cymbal?
I'm talking about the actual how you figured out how to alter finale to do the notation you just showed us. I'm not talking about how to play the part or what you conceive of the composition, but the functionality.
Where exactly that information comes from, from me, it came from my experience. But as far as going in and actually making the changes, I'll go through that one more time just so you can look at it. You're looking at the score manager window, which is this thing. You're going to make sure that the drum set is highlighted, and then you're going to go down here where it says percussion settings. That's going to bring up your MIDI maps. Okay, so these are all MIDI maps that are pre-set up, and most of them are wrong. So the drum set one, once you get into this part, then you hit edit, and then you can do all the things that I did. As far as this is how you set your note heads, and this is how you move them around on the staff to the position where they should be or where you want them.
Okay, all right.
So yeah, I realized that a lot of that went by pretty fast. But I'm going to go back into my mixer and I'm going to pull my drum set up just so you can actually hear it a little bit better. And I put all that together. I'm not really hearing the drums that clearly, so I'm going to pull down the other instruments a little bit more. And hopefully you'll hear it a little better. I'm going to pull them down a little bit more. Kind of hard to hear the ride cymbal, but you can hear the back stick, cross stick. Okay. And then the last thing you do is, as far as guitar voicings, in swing, you just play downbeats, blank, 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 and I would just create voicings. I would create spread voicings. So for F minor 7, I'd probably do E flat on top there. Actually, I'd probably do a G there, and probably do a C down there. So that's actually an F13 voicing. It's actually an F11 voicing. Just because I'm trying to more or less, you got to realize that a guitar is voiced in fourths. So if you put fourths on the staff, you're probably going to get what you're looking for there. Okay, and now I want a B flat 7. So I'm going to go up to the F, then there's 9 there, and put my 7 there, and then put a D there. I realize that I'm just blazing through here, but it's good to keep in mind when you're writing for the guitar, how guitar actually works. So it would sound like that. Okay, we'll pull that up in the mix a little bit so you can hear it a little better. Where's my guitar? There's my guitar. Pull that up a little bit. Okay, just fill in another bar here quick. F. And a B flat 7.
You D flats in that, yeah.
Yeah, there's D flat in that. Oh, nope. I didn't put them in there. Good catch. And now I can just keep that same voicing. Pull it over here and cancel out the D flats. Okay. All right. So to write a guitar part, you don't have to write out the voicings if you got a guitar player that knows what they're doing. You just put slashes. And then you can just copy your chords using the edit menu, edit filter. Oops. Get rid of everything and then just put chords there. And then you can drag the chords down only and not anything else. So that's basically what you would put for a swing part for a guitar player. They're going to play what I put in there. They're just going to play that's Freddie Green style and swing. And so that's pretty loud for the guitar. So I'll pull that back a little bit. Okay, the only thing left is the piano. And at this tempo, I would probably just put in half notes. Nice voicings. Bing, 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 bing. Okay. I'm presuming that we're just about out of time here.
Yeah, that's about it.
If you want to buy a book, that's a great book that has everything in it that I just taught. Here's your book. Gary Lindsay, Jazz Arranging Techniques. Write this down, www.lindsayjazz.com. The book is $40 if you buy it off of his website. If you go to Amazon and try to buy the same book, it's $199. Don't go to Amazon. Go to lindsayjazz.com and he sells it right off his website. $39.95. Best $39.95 you'll ever spend. My arranging class uses this book, and I never let them buy it from Amazon or the bookstore. I tell them to go to lindsayjazz.com. There it is. And now Gary Lindsay owes me $10.
Yeah, more bucks.
Yeah, $4. I also have a list of other jazz arranging books. And if you want to email me, I'll be glad to share that list with you. My email is sharp, SHARP_C @lynchburg.edu. LYNCHBURG. Or BURG, not BERG.
Kelly, you can throw it up on the chat.
Sorry?
I just said, Shelly, are you going to throw that up on chat?
Oh, I could put that. I could do the
Yeah,
message.
yeah.
Where's my messages? Stop. That was mute. No pause. I don't see the messaging here.
You have to pull up the chat bar, I think.
Chat bar, where's that at?
When you look down on your toolbar in Zoom, it should come up across the bottom.
Bottom center.
An option
I see participants.
right next.
Chris, do Alt H.
Oh, shortcut. There you go.
There's my alt. There's my alt. Alt 8. That did nothing.
No, H. Alt H.
Oh, alt
A, B,
8.
C, D, E, F, G, H.
Oh, that's help. That brought up finale help. That didn't help.
Actually, if you quit share, you might see it.
Yeah, let's do that. Stop share. There we go. There's chat. Okay, there we go. Type message here. www.land, that's it, S-A-Y, jazz.com.
And in your email?
Yeah, and then your email.
And your email too.
Which is sharp. There we go.
Perfect. Chris, thank
Does
you.
anybody have any questions? I didn't give you much of a chance to input there, but we have a minute or so here. I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Jeremy, this will be up on the website, the recording.
Yeah, somebody asked for the Zoom recording. Good, yeah, you can sell that and blackmail me.
Oh, it's already going on. Expect a knock on the door. Don't worry. Well, Chris, thank you so much. And everyone, thanks for showing up today. Looking forward to doing this live and making some racket next year. And if you have any thoughts on future workshops for next year's Jazz Festival, please feel free to send them in. So thank you, Chris. Stay warm.
I'd like you to repeat my performance and confuse another whole group of people.